We live in such a weird time because I feel like when I was growing up, you weren't openly allowed to question your gender. Like if
Hmm.
you went to a friend and said something like, I think I might be in the wrong body. The standard response would be like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch!" Like, what the fuck
People
are
would
you?
be like, "What are you talking
Yeah, what are
about?"
you talking about?
Yeah, but are you saying that's a good thing?
That it was like that? I kind of feel
Yeah.
like it was. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, no,
Transphobe
hold on. I'm
Adam.
looking at this from a completely different point of view. I think you can literally gaslight people into thinking they're anything. Like you could
I don't
convince somebody
disagree.
that they're a deer or a fox or like some kind of
He's
otherkin.
coming out against otherkins now. Jeez.
Well, I'm just saying. So these people are kind of gaslit into this on the internet, and then everyone else, to be politically correct, kind of has to endorse this. And the next thing you know, you've kind of been talked into being another gender. Like, how would you know that you were feeling like another gender and not just have some other kind of
No,
mental
so the
illness?
question is, how do you know that you have the biological condition of gender dysphoria as opposed to having the social contagion of merely
Yeah,
thinking
totally.
it?
That's the thing.
Yes, that's the question.
That's the
That's
big
the
split.
question.
Yeah.
Right. Right, and that's why we need some kind of test or
But I
something
don't
that they can figure it out.
I don't know. I'm not 100% on gender dysphoria because how
Uh,
well what do you in all honesty, what how do you feel like you're like a lot of people I think feel like they're in the wrong body. Like obviously I should be 7 feet tall and like rippled with muscles. Like I feel like I'm in the wrong body too.
well, no, okay. So you don't actually feel that way. Okay.
No, I do. I feel like I should be 7 feet tall and
So do
rippled with
you
muscles.
okay, so no.
That's what I
So
am inside.
okay, okay. So uh you familiar with body dysphoria, right?
Yeah, but people
It,
have that where they think they should cut off their limbs. Are we saying that
right, that's
that's
okay.
not
That's
a
I'm starting at body dysmorphia. We'll get to gender
right?
dysphoria.
Okay.
Okay. These are different concepts, but I'm just starting there. Okay. Body dysmorphia is when someone has such an intense feeling of despair and anxiety about a body part
Right. Yeah.
that they will want it to be removed
Yes.
or even destroy it. So, like, for
My
example,
arm is trying to kill me. Yes, I
well,
understand the
no, you
concept.
don't think your arm is trying to kill me. There's some feeling about it that you can't vocalize
Right.
about it being wrong. That's usually how it's described. They say it's wrong. They don't know why it's wrong. There's just this weird feeling about a body part. Okay,
Right.
and there's lots of cases where people will sometimes have it, and then they'll if they can't get it removed surgically, they'll remove it themselves through some sort of horrific means. There's cases where like someone felt this way about their nose, and they literally bashed their own
Oh
nose in
my
with a
god.
hammer
Oh,
in order
please
to
make it
force them
stop.
they forced their parent. This was like a high school person. They forced their parents to get them nose surgery.
Yes.
It's a real condition. Okay, it's
No, I
not
know,
just
but
like I feel like I should like. So that's what I'm saying when you say like, well, everyone feels that way. No. Most people don't feel that way. This is a real thing, and no one really knows what causes it.
that condition though, you would
Right.
describe as a mental illness.
It is a mental illness.
Right.
Yes.
You wouldn't go
It's a
around and tell,
medical.
"Oh,
Right.
everyone feels like they should
Well,
cut
okay,
their
but
nose off their face." And
no.
then the
Right.
next thing you know, people are like, "Oh, well, if everyone feels that way, then I'll
Okay.
just get my nose cut off my face."
Yeah. Right. But that's a different issue.
Well,
Right.
no,
But I agree with you.
the issue is society pushes you. They say, "Listen, you have something severely wrong with you. You have some kind of mental illness. We need to work on this. Like we need to get you back to normal." But with other forms of body dysmorphia, they're like, "No, that's
Hmm.
totally normal. Just go with it. Cut your arm off."
No, I agree in terms of the way that it's being sort of portrayed because the problem is, well, and first of all, let me be clear. When I say bi dysmorphia and gender dysphoria are mental illnesses, I mean that it's classified as a mental illness by the
They're
American
trying to get it
Psychiatric
taken off,
Association.
though. They're trying to
Yeah,
get
I know,
gender dysphoria
but it
taken out of the
is
DSM.
these are things that they believe are biological. Okay,
Hmm.
it's not like, oh, I was abused as a child and thus
Yeah.
I've developed body dysmorphia or gender dysphoria.
If you
Okay.
have body dysmorphia, that obviously is going to be biological. Well, I don't know. Maybe you got hypnotized.
They think there's something weird in your brain that makes you feel that way. This is the thought process, okay,
Have
behind
they
this.
ever tried
But
to hypnotize someone out of that? I bet they have.
so Yeah, and I doubt it's worked. So with gender dysphoria is all evidence points to it, at least for obviously it could be overdiagnosed, but all evidence points to it existing as a real biological condition. Okay,
Right. It's
because
same kind of thing.
the twin studies are the most pertinent example because there's a big statistical difference between fraternal twins and identical twins having gender dysphoria. So
Yes.
you have twins that are raised in the same environment and can be the same gender, and it's only like if they're fraternal twins, there's only a 2% chance that if one's has gender dysphoria, that the other one will have gender dysphoria. But if you're identical twins, it's a 40% chance. Okay,
Only
so not 100%.
40%. That's I would think it would be much higher.
Right. So, but that's what's interesting. It's not 100%. Okay.
40% is quite low, I think.
Well, that's not the point. The point is the jump from 2 to 40 shows that there's a biological component.
60% of twins, when their twin comes out and says, I think I'm the
Identical twins.
I yeah, 60% of identical twins, when their twin
Mm-hmm.
comes out and says, I think I'm transgender, they say, you crazy bitch.
Right.
They
So,
do.
but
60% say, get out of
so
here.
there's an interesting theory about what causes gender dysphoria
Okay.
that
Let's
would
hear it.
seem to align with this 40% number, which is the fact that they're saying, well, it's not necessarily that your brain has some structural problem that makes you feel like you're the opposite gender. It's that the part of your brain that recognizes self is damaged in some capacity. The part that
Interesting. That
there's a
is
part in your brain
interesting.
that allows you to recognize yourself and when you look in the mirror, and there's a part of your brain that sort of derives your own self-image and has to do with your sense of self.
Hmm.
And their theory is that it's damaged in people with gender dysphoria, and so that's why the identical twins number is 40%. Because if you say, well, there's two genders, right,
Hmm.
and you have a damaged part that has to do with your self vision, then there'd be a 50% chance that you would look at yourself and think you're the opposite gender, right? Because it's only two choices. And then you'd say, well, you throw on an
That
extra
does
10,
make sense.
and then
Yeah.
you'd say you remove an extra 10% because it's more likely for someone to probably identify as their birth gender, just because it's just easier.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
it's hard for me to imagine because obviously, I guess, if you did have a female brain though and a male body, I could see that
right.
being
But
or even that just that part of the brain that conceptualizes you as a male or a female.
right. And see, but this is the problem, because I agree with you that it is overblown, and I do think that there's going to be, we've talked about this, I do think that in 10 or 20 years from now there's going to be huge cases of trans regret exploding, because
Yeah.
it is kind of a social contagion to some degree. And the problem is, and I understand this, whenever a group of people has been attacked or marginalized, the common tactic is to use the thing being attacked and turn it into a strength to be proud of. Okay, this is why gay pride parades will be very sexualized often, while normally people would say like, oh, like it's wrong for women to, be so provocative, right? But why is it okay for gay people? Well, it's because they're trying to turn the point of attack, they're trying to turn the weakness into a strength, a source of pride. And unfortunately, that has some negative uh, has some negative counter effects to them. And when it comes to gender dysphoria, that's why they've kind of transformed this thing from being a mental illness to an identity. And I understand why people would do that have gender dysphoria as a way to make themselves feel better. And I am completely sympathetic to that. But it has the problem, which is that if you remove the fact that gender dysphoria is a mental illness, you get people don't really want to research it. They don't want to understand it. They don't want to look into what causes it. They don't want to look into maybe other ways of potentially fixing it.
Yeah,
And
that's
this is,
bad.
and this is all the problem, because not everyone's going to be Blair White, right? Not everyone's going to have, and gender dysphoria seems to hit males a lot harder than females in terms of numbers. But not everyone's going to be Blair White, right? Or ContraPoints or whatever. Not everyone's going to have the body type and the luck to be able to transition successfully into a woman in terms of how they look, right? What do you
Hmm.
do if you're a 7 foot tall, broad shouldered hulk of a man and you have gender dysphoria? How are you going to transition into a woman? You're
Yeah.
just kind of fucked, So it's a difficult subject, Ad.
Yeah, it's totally difficult. I think it's like they turn it into celebrity though. So it kind of
Yes.
incentivizes people to want to do it as like a celebrity identity, which I think is what's dangerous.
Right. And that's the dangerous part of it, is transforming something like a mental illness, okay, which we
Yeah.
should be sympathetic to, transforming that into celebrity status is probably a bad
Yeah,
idea.
if everyone said, a lot of people like you if you have schizophrenia, I would say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to have schizophrenia then. I want a
Yeah,
lot of friends. I
exactly.
want people to like
Right.
me.
Right.
This is how
Yeah.
people like me? Oh, great. Cool.
It's not good, not healthy.